Major cities here in the United States are now on high alert. But for what reason? Well, it's because of an executive order that President Donald Trump just signed. This has many people panicking. Certain people are scrambling to just hold their family together. I want to break down what's going on, how this is going to impact millions and millions of people in many major cities all over the United States, but want to explain why some city officials are now pushing back. So I'll explain all this in just a moment, but all I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now let's begin. So something major is about to happen. Look at this report from today. It says Trump gives immigration agents power to raid churches, schools for deportation. But it actually goes a little bit beyond that. They can raid churches, schools, your work, okay, places that used to be a somewhat of a protected area. Now ICE agents can go into. I want to read this to you. Look at this right here. It says Acting Homeland Security Secretary Benjamin Huffman revoked a directive that restricted agents from U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, as well as Customs and Border Protection, from conducting operations at schools, places of worship, hospitals, and events such as weddings and funerals. It goes on to say right here, criminals will no longer be able to hide in America's schools and churches to avoid arrests. The Trump administration will not tie the hands of our brave law enforcement and instead trust them to use common sense. Okay, that right there could be something that is good, but it also could cause mass panic and chaos once we start to see ICE agents are showing up in certain cities, in certain areas where maybe there are more migrants than previous years, right? Look at this right here. I want to play this for you. This is in Chicago.
Coffee shops and businesses here on 18th Street and across the city of Chicago and countless homes, people are concerned about what's to come, but elected leaders say that they'll do everything in their power to protect the city's many immigrant communities.
So city officials, not just in the city of Chicago, but in Chicago, Los Angeles, New York, Denver, right? The list goes on and on. There are many sanctuary cities that immigrants can go to and get some protection. They can also get food and shelter and things like that. Well, the Trump administration came out very early and said they were going to stop this mass immigration. They were going to stop people just walking into the U.S. because what has been promised to these people is not what we can actually afford to give them. We can't give every single asylum seeker, every person out there that's coming into the United States seeking asylum or just walking in. We don't have the ability, the capacity at this time to give every single person, shelter, give them food, give them healthcare, give them a cell phone, right? Give them credit cards like what New York was doing, right? We don't have the ability to do that. Now, I want to read this to you as well. Trump's mass deportation plan has Philadelphia immigration community nervous. Of course, people would be nervous. I want to read this to you. Look, it says President Trump's promise of mass deportation is making many people in the immigrant community nervous. It says that includes one man who came to South Philadelphia from Indonesia when he was 9 years old. He said he has the legal documentation to work here and is now trying to get a green card, but fears it may never come, with Mr. Trump now in his second presidency. I want to read something to you, because when this person says fears it will never come, listen to this comment. This person wrote to me a while back and said this. It says, and I quote, "My family members walked into the U.S. after being directed to by an immigration group here in Denver. They told us that once they are in the U.S., they will get expedited work permits and green cards. They have been in the U.S. for 8 months and nothing has come, and we will not hear anything again. They waited and waited, and the promises made by the city never came through." Now, I don't know what promises were made. I don't know what cities and other states have been telling people, but I do know what the previous administration, the Biden administration, did. Okay, they made it easy for people to walk into the United States. There were so many different articles and posts and social media things that people would post where it was saying like how to come into the United States, the route that you can take, the immigration officers that you're gonna see, where they will be stationed, where they're gonna be posted up at, right? And what you do when you come upon them. Just walk past them, right? So many different social media posts, even on TikTok, so many. But many people were promised that, yeah, come into the United States. Okay, come here. We'll give you water. We're not going to arrest you. We'll give you water. We'll give you food. Send you on your way, right? We're just going to send you on your way. Because these detention facilities were at capacity. We couldn't get more people in them. And there was promises that, yes, the Biden administration was going to put more money into building more centers, more housing facilities, so that they can house the people, they can process them a little bit quicker, which never came to fruition because they didn't have enough attorneys or judges to even process the people, right? There's reports that there's over 7 million illegal immigrants here in the United States that are just waiting for their asylum to go through. We don't have the judges, the immigration judges, even there, right? We don't have enough to process 7 million people in an expedited fashion. So that's part of the issue. But I want to read you this. It says how Trump's plans for mass deportation and ICE raids are playing out. This is where we are seeing a lot of panic. For instance, look at this. The Mexican border town of Tijuana declares state of emergency as Trump pledges mass deportations. Yeah, it's going to be chaos. Look at this. It says, here's what we know so far about ICE enforcement operations in the wake of several immigration-related executive orders Trump signed. I want to show you some of this, okay? Because a lot of people are speculating what's going to happen. I want to read you a couple quotes first, and then we're going to get into what's actually going to go down. It says right here, criminals will no longer be able to hide in America's schools and churches to avoid arrest. The Trump administration will not tie the hands of our brave law enforcement, instead trust them to use common sense. It says it's a lot of rhetoric designed to fear and terrorize people, especially immigrants. This is from Reverend Beth Brown of Lincoln Park Presbyterian Church in Chicago. If they don't have a signed judicial warrant, they still cannot enter church buildings or faith community buildings because it's not just churches, it's all houses of worship. Here's the issue. And then I'll get to what's going on. This is one of the things that the Trump administration has already planned for. They've already planned that they are likely going to have to use the National Guard. They're likely going to have to call in military personnel to help set up facilities, deportation centers, things like that to house immigrants that have come into the United States. And here's the other thing. We are not going to see only illegal immigrants go back to Mexico, Venezuela, and Bolivia, and Turkey, and wherever, right? We're not going to see just people go back because they are here illegally. We're also going to see people voluntarily leave that do have asylum because their family members are now going back. That's what we're going to see, okay? We're already seeing it. Now, I want to read this to you. It says, will there be ICE raids? This is from NBC News. It says, Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, told Fox News that there would be targeted enforcement action, which is similar to what ICE already does throughout the country every single day. It says, we have more people assigned to the mission, but he didn't say how many people were assigned or where they were assigned. This is actually pretty big. Look at this. Where could they be? It says, while the Trump administration has not said where the first raids will take place, officials familiar with discussions about possible targets say they will be arresting migrants in major metropolitan cities first. Some of the locations include Washington, D.C. area, Denver, Colorado, Los Angeles, California, Chicago, Illinois, and New York, New York. Those are just some of the locations. Keep in mind, though, a lot of people have come into these cities like Los Angeles, and they spread out. They start there, and then they figure out it's too expensive. I can't live in LA. Okay, I can't live in New York. I can't live in Chicago. I need to get into the suburbs, right? Get a little bit outside the city, so that the little bit of money that I do have goes a little bit further. Right? Same thing in Washington, D.C. So, yes, those are probably the cities that they're going to start, but it's not going to stop there. Look at this. It says, what's next for Trump's promises of mass deportation? It says Trump will most likely have to secure more funding from Congress to make good on his promises for mass deportations. He pledged in his inaugural address to deport millions and millions of immigrants back to their home countries. But ICE is already short $230 million to fund its current level of deportations, which removed over 230,000 migrants last year. So, they're already short $230 million. And that was what got them to remove 230,000 people. Okay? So, what does that cost? Was that $1 million? So that $1 million a person? Right? No, wrong. That's $1,000 a person to deport them back to their home country. Here's the other thing, and again, like I said, there are people that are going to voluntarily depart the United States because their family is going as well. Now, could they, ask the U.S. to pay for it? Possibly. Will the U.S. pay for it? It depends. So right now, there's a lot of speculation as to what is going on. How is this going to play out? Now, here's what I can tell you. I don't know where all these people are working. Again, there's reports that we're going to see more than 1 million people get deported in the next year. More than 1 million people here in the United States, currently here, living here, potentially working here, have family. They're going to leave to go back to their home countries. Here's the problem. And again, we don't know where these people are working or exactly where they're living. But could these illegal immigrants be leaving a job in manufacturing? Could they leave a job in farming, right? In agriculture? Yeah, that's the most likely scenario. So according to experts, they feel that we are about to see prices for things like fruit, vegetables, even certain meats, they're going to go up. So we'll see what happens. All I can tell you right now is this is one of Donald Trump's big promises, is to deport millions of people back to their home countries that are taking the resources of the American people, that are making it more expensive for our tax-paying citizens. That's what we're hearing. So I don't know what this is going to look like. I don't know to what extent this is going to go or how quickly this is going to get started. But according to reports, it all started today. So we'll get the reports over the next couple of weeks. If we are seeing ICE agents raid churches, hospitals, schools, places of business, well, I'm going to bring those updates to you as soon as possible. So again, that is what we know as of today. But if you have any questions whatsoever, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. But again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.